Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have an interesting guy, a young brother from London, let's say, and he's a trader. He's I'll let him explain his technical term, because you know me, I'm terrible at these introductions, but he seems very conscious, very aware, and he's gonna hopefully tell us how he got into the industry, what motivates him, and what a typical day is like for him. So, welcome, Donald.
Thank you, Simon, for having me.
Okay, that's great.
All right, so how do you start this off?
So how did you get into the industry
Of trading?
Yep.
Mine's an interesting story. So 2016, I got sentenced to 7 years in prison.
Okay.
So I did, in the UK you do half of that, 3.5 years. So I did 3.5 years, and about 2 years in, I met a guy in the prison, a white guy, older guy, and this white guy was constantly trying to talk to me on the spur, like on the landing, and I kept ignoring him, because at that moment in time, after being shipped around prison to prison, I'd been sent all the way up to Lancashire. So there was only like 3 black people there, and the rest were obviously white, etc. So I wasn't really I didn't feel comfortable in getting into communication with him, but you know what, one day there was a confrontation on the wing, and I think he bought something or tried to do a deal with some guys, and basically they tried to pressure him and tried to bully him in a sense. And so I stepped in, because I don't really like bullying. I could be a bully, but I don't do it, so I don't like when I see bullying. So I stepped in and I told the people basically that, look, whatever's happened is mine, so give it back, sort of thing. Cut a long story short, they done that. So he got his stuff back, and he turned around to me on the one away and was like, you know, thanks for that, mate. I'd love to reward you, sort of thing. And so obviously we were all in prison, so we're in there for crime. And so presumably he was talking about setting me up with some of his people on the out or so. But I told him, I said, no, do you know what? Don't worry about that. You know, it was just a kind gesture. And besides, I'm out of that business anyway. At the time, I was doing property sourcing, and I told him that. And I was like, you know what? Anything to do with like the road stuff, the street stuff, the criminal stuff, I said, I'm done with it. But as we're talking and walking, we walked past his cell. And in his cell, he had the charts up. I don't know if you know what charts are. Like price charts. You know when you see like a stock chart?
Okay.
Like what you might see on the news or newspaper, the line graphs, etc. So we had these up on his wall, and I'd known about it because about a year or so before that, I was contemplating of getting involved in it, but anyway, I didn't. So when I saw them in his wall, I said, you know what, you want to do me a favour? I said, all right, well, what do you know about these charts? He said, what, these? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, this is what I do, you know, it's incredible stuff. I said, all right, well, teach me about that. He goes, no problem. Took it from there, and for about a month, you know, he gave me books, etc., and ran me through what he knew and all of that. And then what happened was, this is funny, I remember saying to him, look, you know what, I'm really interested in this, but I'm busy at the moment because I'm doing my property sourcing stuff with my missus on the out, who was waiting for me. And I was like, do you know what, as much as I want to get into it, I just can't see this happening. Like, it looks like I need to put a lot of time and energy in, which I'm not afraid of hard work, but I just don't want to compromise what I'm doing at the moment. And I said, you know what, entice me, you know, show me something that would make me want to do this. He's like, all right, no problem. And so
show you a picture of his house or something.
No, even better. So because we was in it by then, I was probably about a year up to my release. So we was in an open prison, which meant we get to work outside or go college or etc. and come home for like a few days, home release, get used to the community, etc. So he brought his phone back in, and he said, all right, here's what we're gonna do, Don. We're gonna place a trade, and then we're gonna go for lunch and come back and see how we did. I was like, yeah, all right, let's do this. So he placed the trade, and so we went for lunch about an hour, came back, and I'm like, yeah, how's our trades, mate? And he's opened his trades. He's like, right, we're in profits. I said, right, so what does that mean? He goes, let's have a look. He goes, yep, we're up. And he showed it to me. I couldn't understand. I said, what's this? He goes, we're up 27.5 grand. I was like, what did you say?
For lunchtime, you know.
Lunchtime. He's like, we're up 27.5 grand. I said, you're full of shit, but he's an old guy, so I'm thinking his eyes ain't working. So I'm saying, no, mate. I'm saying, how? I'm saying, you sure that's not £27 or 2,700? He's like, no, 27,500. I'm saying, right, all right. Well, then how much did you invest? To get £27,500, how much did you invest? He said £75. I was like, no, this guy's off key. I'm like to him, mate, you sure your eyes are working, yeah? I'm like, you sure that's not £750 or £7,500? He's like, no. He gives me the phone. He's like, look for yourself. And he's right. It's £75 that he placed on the trade and £27,500 that he closed the trade in profit. This is all in the space of 1 hour. At that moment there, I was like, fuck this. This is my new favourite business opportunity. I don't care.
You ain't making that money on
What?
the street.
I never ever knew there was such a business. I thought, I was in property at the time. I thought, right, I got the secret. I'm going to be rich forever once I get the hang of this. I was like, no, nothing could compare to it. In 1 hour, 30 grand almost. I was like, right. And so then I took it from there. About a month after that, I ended up moving prisons to another prison. And I continued from there. Cut a long story short, I honed my craft while I was inside. When I got to the other prison, again, you got an opportunity to go work outside, go to college and study, or self-source your own work. Like if you knew someone who had a business and you could go there, etc., if they did all the checks and you passed. And so I told them at this stage, listen, I'm not interested in any of these. They're like, why is that? I said, because for 3 years now, I've been working on my own business plan, and I'm not going to do anything miscellaneous to that just because. So unless you've got something to allow me to continue with my business plan, or for people who want to go into self-employment, then you know what, just send me to the library or keep me in my cell or whatever, just don't disturb me, let me crack on. Came back to me a month later, and it's funny because in that whole prison system, that prison itself, for the whole entire time it's been open, it's never had an opportunity for people to go outside to work on a self-employment basis in terms of basically starting up your business.
System, innit?
Yeah. And so, but they did that for me, like I pressed, and I was the first person to basically kick the door open. And so they did. They opened, there was a place called Making It Out. Big up to Making It Out. I always say I'm always going to go back to them and send all credit to them. Lucy and Mark, love those guys. Got to go there 3 days a week. Had our own office space in the studio. And, got busy, got cracking. I was with another guy who was working on kids' books, my friend Simon. And so this was all up and stayed there for about 9 months. Got released about when? May, 1st of May, so I've been out about 6 months now, and came out, and I've been cracking on ever since, and that's how I got into the industry, man. Big explanation, but I thought, you know what, give me the backstory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the moral of that story is, don't be a bully, and you don't know who you're protecting when you're when you're stepping into something.
True.
Obviously you didn't do it with anything in mind to gain. You just saw wrong was wrong and right is right in that respect. So you still in contact with the old guy then?
No, that's the sad part about it. I'm not. I need to go and find him somehow, but he was all the way from, I don't know, Liverpool, and I'm all the way from London. We got split up. I don't know
his name.
I know his name, I've got to find him.
Just find someone to email him or whatever. Assuming unless he's doing live.
Surely what?
Unless he's doing live.
Oh no, he's not. He's not.
Yeah,
he did give me a friend's number to contact, but that number hasn't been working for at least a year now.
You need to find him.
I'd love to find him.
You know why? Because there's something in that.
Yeah.
And you may think you know, but there's probably a lot more he can show you.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And
I reckon he'll be so surprised as to how far I've taken it and how much I've come. Like, I'm the type of person, if I want something, I go for it. Yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to show him, like, look, mate, bang, 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 I've done this way I'm going, starting the fund, gonna launch the hedge fund after this, blah, 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 these are my risk to rewards ratio, this is the way I analyze. He'd be like, what? He'd be blown away.
And you know what, there's different things. You could set up a scheme that where you teach other men them things, if you want to. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Funded by the government, or funded by whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't go by the funded by the government.
Well, whether you do it however you want
privately.
to do it.
Well, you know what? That's funny you said that, because I started a coaching program where I would teach people how to trade, either people who wanted to get into trading or struggling traders. I also did like a signal service, you know, people who wanted to trade, didn't have enough money, but wanted to latch onto my winning signals, etc. I tapped into those, but it just wasn't sitting with me right. I thought, you know what, it's still early days. I could get back to this at any moment in time. And you know what, I really want to just focus on something different right now. So I kind of put it on ice, helped a few people, put it on ice. I'll get back to that probably in about 3 to 6 months time. But at the moment, I'm really much more focused on setting up my managed account, because my whole idea was, and this is the part I missed out, anytime I get into something, me personally, because I'm not ashamed to say or embarrassed to say that I am extremely financially motivated. And the reason for that is it's not because of materialistic things, but it's because I understand the concept of generational wealth. And I understand that wealth is something that everybody should acquire, and as a matter of fact is entitled to. I also understand that being black myself, African, from Ghana, etc., I've seen my family and my parents work super hard for peanuts. And it's about time that stopped. We're not stupid, you know, like knowledge is power, but to be fair, applied knowledge is power. And I've realized that, do you know what? I am competent enough, plus I'm a high believer. I don't claim any religion anymore, but I'm a strong believer. I pray every single day now, and I believe I'm competent enough. I don't need any permission or anybody's approval in order for me to go out and make a change. So before I make a change into the world itself, my first goal is to make a change in my family tree and my generation that follow after me, and there should be no more poverty from me going forward. So anyway, so because of that, anything I get into, I always try and take it to the maximum. And so when I first got into trading, initially it was trading as an individual trader. Then I was like, how far does this go? Then I realized you can start a prop firm, which means I would have my strategy, bring, say for instance, 10 people on board into my office, and they would all trade my strategy. Then I realized you could take it one step further, which was a hedge fund, which was where you trade clients' capital, and you charge a 20% 20% performance fee, meaning you take 20% on the profits and a 2% management fee, whether you make any profits or not. And then I thought, is there anything above this? And then there was an investment bank. And I was like, right, okay, so maybe the investment bank right now is a bit out of my reach. You know, maybe you had about 5-7 years experience. I see where I can take that, preferably back home. Forget building here. Now I know what I know. But I was like, I want to go all the way up to a hedge fund. That's where the real money is. That's where I can accumulate real wealth. And that's where I can take this to where it needs to be. No point in staying on level 1 if I know I can get to level 5. And so in my plans, on my papers, everything has to do with hedge fund. And so when I came out, I started trading for myself. But I'm a type of person who's, I'm very talented, and my talent is business. And so I can be like a magpie at times, and you know, anything that I see, I can, anything I see that I can make something of, I try and tap into it. But then I've realized for me that's a hindrance, because I can see things all day. Like I can see you doing this podcast thing, and already I've had ideas. I'm like, well, I can see where you could take this. I can see where it could be, but I've learned to control that with myself. So the point I'm making is that when I first came out, although hedge fund was the proprietary plan, I started tapping into other things, e-commerce, marketing, coaching program and stuff. And then, you know, at a time I was in my element, and I had a reflection mode, went back through my papers, and I was like, what are you doing, Donald? You know, you're supposed to be launching this fund. And so it's funny how life, you know, you go through so many hoops only to realize you don't need to go through those hoops. You didn't have to do it that way, etc. And that's what's happened to me. And so about a month ago, I got hit in the face again with the realization that, hold on a second, go back to your fund. You can do it now. You've got all the knowledge, all the resources, the experience, the profits, the proof, etc. And so here I am launching my managed fund, which is, I'll call it a mini version of my hedge fund. And so, you know, now I feel so superior and content with myself that everything I've been saying I'm going to do for 3 years now, I'm actually here doing it. As my friend would say, living my dream. I go to my office every day. I wear certain clothes. I walk different, talk different. You know, I'm the super me. almost.
Nice.
Almost.
You know what? It's a simple answer. When you say Ghana, looking at you, I swear to God, you're Caribbean.
I get that a lot.
Even your hair texture doesn't say Ghana. I don't know.
I get that a lot.
but it's all good, because we all come from the west coast originally. Yeah, man. For us here, anyway, and stuff. Love. But that's a great interview.
Thank you, Simon.
Great, and I wish you luck.
Thank you.
And guys, you know, that's a story there for you. There's a moral. There's a thing. Whether you've done time, whatever, you can still be what you want and more.
For sure.
Yeah. We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.